All right, welcome back. We are now on the audio section of our training for BATV volunteers. We're going to pull the camera back out. We're going to put our battery back on it.
We're going to mount it on the tripod.
First, we're going to put our handle on. That is a little bit different than what we did before, isn't it?
It is.
So our handles have little screws on the bottom. Again, put that in and screw it down.
Finger tight.
Finger tight. And then this still has a screw for the tripod. So we're going to line up our lens and we're going to put this and do another finger tight.
Again, we make sure that the diagram matches our camera lens.
Yep. Lens. And then we're going to put it on our tripod.
Line it in and lock it down.
Perfect. So the reason why we do that, Alan, is because they call them hot shoes, where you would be able to slide things into. These are very special to Canon products. We don't always go with Canon products. So this allows us the opportunity of having two on one camera and being able to still use other audio options for these cameras. So the first one we're going to do is, let's say we're at the township meeting, for example. We like to use these Rode shotgun mics because it's a long table and then there's about 6-7 people that sit on the other end of it and our camera's at the very other end of the table. So there's a gap for audio issues. So we have our students and our volunteers use these. They're really easy. You just slide it on. Twist this down. It's a lock.
That's a lock to keep it in the shoe.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we just need to pull this cable and plug it in to where it says mic.
Ah, mic in.
Yep.
There we go.
And then the only other thing we really need to do is turn it on. And once you got the green light, you're good to go.
Green light tells us we're getting audio.
So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to plug these headphones in. I'm going to have you put them on and tell me if you can hear.
Okay.
Our headphone jack is in here by the LCD screen.
Okay. So left and right?
Yep.
Yes.
So now with that pointed towards me, you should be able to hear me pretty good.
I hear you.
Check 1, 2, check, check. So that's how we can fill that gap at certain meetings where we don't have sound systems set up and such. We've had to use these for township, we've used them for concerts, we've used it for Kane County board meetings. We're using them more and more for other things just to try to weed out the people who do sit by us and talk. We go with this.
Directional.
Yeah.
More than the on camera.
Right. So when I point this at you, I should hear you. All right. So that's.
But do you still also get the level?
Yep. And you'll still get the level down here at the bottom of your LCD screen. Right there. Check, check, check,
Yes.
check, check.
I hear both of us.
Yes. There's also some other options. You can make it quieter or you can make it louder. So depending on your situation when you get there and you set this up and people are kind of talking away from you, it's a camera operator's role to figure out which needs to sound better.
What the room's doing.
Yeah.
Make a choice between, you have 3 choices, nothing, something, or more or less.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to slide that back over
that off.
and turn it off.
No red light, just the green light one.
Just a green light when it's on. And this does take 9-volt batteries. So when I do give this out to people, I make sure there's an extra 9-volt battery in the camera battery.
In here in our last segment, and so that's one of the kinds of batteries I can find if something.
Yes.
I suspect something is wrong. I don't get a green light.
Right. Yep. And your first, when you get out on a shoot and something's not going right, your first thing should be making sure you have batteries.
Check my battery.
And everything, is green and on. And then if that's, still a problem, I would suggest somewhat, turning it off, reset, so that when you get back to it, hopefully everything is back to working. If that doesn't work, then call BATV at 630-937-5413. John Bennens does work from 5 till 9 at night. So there should be somebody here, hopefully, to answer your questions or come and meet you at your location.
Now, I see a symbol in here that's a headphone symbol.
Mm-hmm. So that's telling you you're plugged in.
I've got audio coming out.
Right. So your other option, if it wasn't headphones, it would say AV. So that would be if we were projecting what you're filming onto a screen of some sort. You can pull a video and audio feed out of this camera and send it to a projector where people could see it on a screen. But we don't typically do that.
That's not a normal setup for us.
No.
We're just recording action in front of the camera.
Exactly. So we leave that set to headphones. Okay. If there is a special occasion, we would pull you to the side and set it to AV and let you know that this is what you're walking into and why it's set differently. Okay.
Great.
So let's say that we're going to the library and we're going to tape a speaker, maybe a New Lyceum lecture or Books Between Bites or this even. We have our microphones on and we're going to show people how to set that up. We use Sennheiser for our audio, and you have some options in here. This is your receiver, and
does each kit come with 2 of these, or if you know you're only going to use one, it would only have 1 in it for the
Nope, it always comes this way.
It has 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and how you know that this is your receiver, this is going to receive the information and give it to the camera. How you know that is it has the hot shoe on the bottom. So we can slide that onto our handle and lock it down.
And this would be used if I'm going to put a microphone on
a subject.
My speaker.
Yep.
Or in this case, I could have 2 speakers.
But you can only plug in one. So if you're going to have 2 speakers, we do have some special equipment that would be some special training. That would be able to bring 2 people in and
so this configuration is for 1 wired speaker in an environment that we're going to capture on our video.
Right. Okay. So we've got our receiver on here. We have some other cables in here. We have a lavalier microphone. We have an XLR cable for the sound. And then we have a 1/8 cable. So how we get this to communicate to this is through this. As you can see, I'm going to flip this back around. Right here, it looks like a screw. So what we do is we push this in and then actually screw this down.
Okay, so that
finger
locks
tight.
the cable in.
Yep. And then, so that this isn't sitting in front of our screen, I tend to wrap it around the handle. And then we're going to plug it back into our mic jack.
Same place I would have plugged in
the shotgun mic. Yep.
Right.
So this is now ready to communicate to this. However, we need to have the other end where our speaker would be. So that would be, this is a transmitter, and this is a transmitter. You can only use one at a time. So if it is going to be multiple speakers, you could, and they're comfortable, you always ask them first, you can push this on, screw this up, and then that way they can pass it off to each other.
Great.
So we use this for like ribbon cuttings. We're able to hand this to the mayor and say, here's your mic for the ribbon cutting. Make sure, you pass it to the owners, and that way everybody can say, welcome, we're happy to have you here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business? The mayor would hand it over to the owner. The owner then can say, you know, we're here to support and be a Batavia community business, and here's where we're located, and here's our phone number, and all this wonderful information, so that everybody at home can hear that. So those are kind of the situations we would use this for.
Both of these, the battery and the mic, are in this case.
There are batteries,
There are
yes.
extra batteries.
Yep.
Okay, because this takes a,
Double A. Takes
AA.
two AA.
Two
This
AA.
takes two AAs, this takes two AAs, and that takes two AAs.
okay,
Yep.
with again an on-off switch.
Yep. So down here is the on-off switch, and you know what? I will turn this on also. You have to push these two little buttons on the side end,
Buttons on the side.
and then lift it up, and then you have on, off, and set. So you want to turn on, off, push and hold, green light comes on, and now you can see some information on here. On here it says 626.000. What that means is that's the frequency that this is using to communicate with your transmitter. So when you turn this on, you have to make sure it says 626.000, and it does. So when I talk into this, you can see that there is levels, and then over here you can also see levels. So everybody can be like, oh no, it's working, you know, and then they can say, yeah, I'm receiving it. And then the top bar that says RF is actually your strengthened signal. So if, let's say, we're talking and all of a sudden you hear like weird staticky noises, or what people call mic hits, where it's like shh, you know, that is an issue with your frequency not having the strength. And so it basically is shorting out intermittently as people are talking.
Is there a fix for that?
There is a fix for that. You can change your frequency, but that typically never happens. So we don't,
That's a last resort.
yeah, and we don't show people how to do that necessarily either, because it gets you into menu options, and once again, BATV does not want people to be playing too much with our menus and changing things. It does happen, and then we catch it after another shoot happens, and we're like, why does that look like that? It's because somebody didn't tell us they changed things, or they didn't change things back. So honestly, we just don't want anybody playing with menus, whether it's wireless or camera. We just set it ourselves and send it out that way. If you are having major audio issues, and camera mic is an option, you can always just unplug this, and then it's automatically going to go to camera mic. But that's really only if you can't have somebody redo something. If we're out and we're doing like man on the street stuff, and that starts happening, we can stop. I can change the frequencies, and then we can start our man on the street again.
Or switch to the camera if that's the solution.
Right. Yeah. So these are communicating to each other. This would be good to go. The mayor would be ready at a ribbon cutting. But we're going to turn this off now, and we're going to go back to our situation of one speaker. And that would be with this. This is called a lavalier microphone. It is...
It's really pretty small, isn't it?
It is. We use this for municipal minutes, speakers, board brief, all those type of things. That way, when somebody's talking about something pretty important, usually, we can all really hear them well. So what we would have our speaker do is drop this end down their shirt. I'll do this hopefully without hitting the other one. And then it comes out on the other end.
Yep.
So we're just going to pull this down. And we're going to mic me on the other side of my shirt now. Clip this. Clip it there. And you always want your microphones to be actually near the vocal cords. Our mouth is an illusion that our voice actually comes out. That's not where our voices come out. They actually come out from about here in our throats. So honestly, you don't necessarily need a microphone like in your mouth. You really want your microphone more near your throat.
Like this.
But that looks weird, so we don't do that. We would just have them hold it here.
And not this.
Right, let's not do that. I don't think we'll hear your thoughts. So now we have this on the other end. And once again, it has the screw type situation, so we're going to
Plug
push
and lock.
and lock. Same buttons on the side, push them in, open this. Same on, off, and set, just as the same as this. So we're going to turn it on.
Turn on and press set, or not
Nope,
necessary?
we're just going to turn it on, and we're going to look and make sure our frequencies are the same, and they are, 626.000. We are getting levels off of me.
Yes.
And we also have a battery indicator, which is really nice. And you have a battery indicator on all of them, even on this guy over here. Down here at the bottom.
There it is.
And don't worry about the word pilot. It's supposed to say that.
Okay.
But we're not flying.
We're not.
Okay. So then we would just wrap this up. And if the person had a pocket to put it in, they could put it in their pocket, or they can clip it.
Whatever they're comfortable with.
Yep. And they're off. So, and we,
Wireless, they can roam.
yep, and they can walk and be free to roam around, which is another reason why we always need to be ready, because people tend to not want to just stand in one place when they talk. They tend to want to move a little bit, interact a little bit, and we need to be able to give them that freedom. And with both of these, they have that freedom. They even have that freedom with this. You know, as long as we continue to point it at them, we should be able to hear them for the most part, unless they get really quiet or anything. So presenters, though, they typically are vocally loud, or they are mic'd. So that way when they do get quiet, we can still hear what they're saying. Some people are just shy and they get quiet at first, and then they get louder and things like that. So we are now mic'd. I would be able to give a presentation of anything like I am right now, and everybody should be able to hear. So I'm going to have you, and I'm going to plug this back in. And
I have audio.
can you hear me?
I can.
See, so now you're ready to go, and you would hit record and record my speech, the same as Josh is doing behind the camera.
Okay.
All right.
I don't have to worry about level.
You,
Sounds like it's breaking up at the high end.
it's getting a little distorted. That is typically something you wouldn't have to necessarily worry about, because we do have the camera set to auto for audio reasons. So the camera should be clipping me automatically. So that way if somebody, and I'm a loud person, so if somebody was quiet, they would actually sound really good, but because I'm loud. And there are things that we could do. We could change the sensitivity in our wireless, but once again, that's something that we don't really want people to do.
Right. So not a normal thing to have to worry about. You plug it in,
Right.
turn it on, and run with it.
Right.
Great.
I'm going to turn this. Getting feedback.
I think that's what I was hearing.
Yeah, it's probably actually the two mics.
Normally we have.
Yes, usually you don't have two mics. Sometimes at the library will mic somebody and we will mic somebody.
The frequencies are different.
Yeah, and we usually, because they're right into a PA system through speakers, and then the other is straight to us. So we don't typically have too many problems with that. So that's how you would set up a wireless. Does all of that kind of make sense to you? You got...
It does, actually.
And there's a flow to all of this, and I don't know if a lot of people are catching on to that, but I'm your subject, right? So our flow is from me to our receiver, to our camera, to our camera operator. So if the camera operator goes, I can't hear you, there's something wrong in our flow. So the first thing you want to do is you want to check your headphones. You want to check your power. You want to check that the frequency is good. You want to make sure that the batteries are good. You know, those are just the quick things. You want to make sure that this is plugged in all the way. These are just some of the small things that do happen that, you know, people might panic about and immediately call us. But really, those are the things that you should check as a camera operator. And then if you don't have a solution, then call BATV. And one of us will either walk you through it over the phone, or we'll come down and meet you if you're nearby. And once again, if it's at night, typically if you walk out of here and we don't think you're too comfortable, or you flat out tell us you're not very comfortable, we do send John at night to help a lot of high school students, and it's never a problem. He'll meet you at your location and help you set up, make sure you're good to go, and then he'll leave you, you know, and leave you feeling better about your situation than not feeling confident.
Excellent.
So once again, you did ask the question, how would I break this down? I would break it down.
You break this down.
I would break this down the way I set it up. So the first thing I would do is I would
Turning things off.
Yep, and unplugging things and making sure that everything does get turned off. And put things back where they were when I got them.
This menu wouldn't be up normally, and so...
Correct, and you can hit the X.
Hit X to get it out of there.
Yes.
Exited. So this is telling me the camera is still on.
Yep.
So since we're done, we would turn that off.
Mm-hmm. Right there. Perfect.
Okay. We have headphones that need to be unplugged.
Wrap our cable up.
Okay. And in order to get all of this off, we would first have to get our shoe released. So we have a lock button. Shoe, which goes back on immediately.
Yes, the plate, the tripod plate. There you go. And then we'll lock that.
This is the extra shoe, which stays with the camera bag.
Right.
Now I have a camera. Now, if we were folding up because we finished our assignment, I would also take the battery out.
Correct, sir.
There's a lock release and slide it right out.
Mm-hmm. And that goes in the
This
camera
always
bag.
goes in the camera bag.
And the camera goes in the camera.
In the camera bag. There's no lens cover or anything like that?
No, we tried that. People lost them.
Figures.
It's just one more thing for somebody to put in their pocket and not put back on the camera, or set it down and not pick it up, or
It
somebody
could fall
steps
in the
on
river.
it. It could, but you know, things do fall in the river. So that is our basic setup for any volunteer that is with BATV. If you have any more questions, you need more detail about things, we recommend that you come into our office and we can spend some time with you. If you want a one-on-one training with either myself or Holly Deachman, the station manager, we can set up a time for that and spend one-on-one time training with you, so that way when you do leave, you feel very comfortable about what you're doing and very comfortable with our equipment. But for the most part, we appreciate you watching our video and learning a little bit about how to use our equipment. Thanks.